since I've posted. That's been very busy. Work, worship, church, speaking engagements. It's just been hectic. But today is about Limitless 2023, and I just want to do sort of a review of my experience and just how much of a blessing it was to be there, and how much of a blessing it was to see so many kids commit to Jesus. Now, Limitless, for those that don't know, it's a youth festival, so primarily aimed at 18 and below. They do have a young adults venue and specific for young adult seminars and stuff, but it is a youth festival. So I went as part of the prayer team. So my role, I guess, was just to pray for people. When they wanted prayer, they would come to the front, or possibly when they were giving their life to Christ, they'd want somebody with them to do that. So that was my role, and my expectation was very little. I thought, it's going to be great to serve God. I don't expect really to be fulfilled myself. But I left there every single time there was an event, which would be morning and evening for the 5 days, just so full of the Holy Spirit, so speechless, to be honest, of what God is doing in people's lives. And it was a blessing, and I just can't, even now I'm speechless to how many people gave their life to Christ, which was 676 over the 5 days, which is unbelievable. And I think for me, to see kids so committed to Christ and so happy to be celebrating Jesus was unbelievable. I mean, the worship, you have 4,500 people in a room, just hands lifted high and just looking to God and just celebrating God, and the high energy, the high vibe, it just being all about Jesus, and it was amazing. And so I highly recommend it to anybody who hasn't been, especially with youth, especially with your youth from church, because they will experience God. If they've never experienced Him before, or if they're struggling with their relationship, they will experience Him there. That's a given. Every time I've been, I've felt God's presence, in every room I'm in, with whoever I'm with. It's just God is so present in those settings, and feeling Him. Understanding what God feels like is also something people maybe miss. And there are places to get them, big church festival, David's tent, Limitless, things where the focus is just God. Nobody cares about anything else apart from Jesus for that weekend or for those 5 days. And so you have to go. I met some really amazing people while I was there, and the community that you can get from it is crazy. All over the UK, all over the world, in fact, you can meet people who are just striving to know Jesus more, to give people more Jesus, and to be more Christ-like. And it's a very unique thing. And what I learned from this festival is actually that, as much as I believe God is real and He's present, there are many more people that feel exactly the same. And Christianity is moving forward, and people are being saved, and hell is losing people, which is such a nice thing to say, that hell lost another one. And there's a song that goes over that. But we also, and another thing that I really got from it was actually, as a young adult, I'm 24, so I'm kind of maybe slightly away from that young adult now, but we need to be pushing the kingdom. We need to have set ourselves up to know the Bible, to spread the Bible, and to be serious about Jesus Christ. Because there's kids at 8 years old, 9 years old, 10 years old, who are praying for people, who are getting up on stage reading Bible verses, who are ending in prayer, who are praying for healing, for prophetic words. And I know it's God's timing, and I know that God has a plan for all of us, but we have to work. We have to be seeing these kids on fire for Christ, and seeing what God is doing in the kids, and say, how much more can I commit to Him? Because it says in the Bible, to have childlike faith, to be like a child, and if we're not putting that into practice, we're going to struggle a lot with understanding God and striving for His kingdom. Right? These kids that are there, they are so focused on Him, so focused on what He has for them, that nothing else matters. But how many of us at 24 struggle to pray in groups, or struggle to spread the gospel, struggle to talk about their testimony? three things which are really important in God's kingdom, and we can't do them because we're fearful. And so we need to take a leaf out of their book, out of the kids' books, and say, what am I fearful of? The only thing I should fear and have reverence for is the Lord. And so I encourage you, if you are in one of those positions, talk to God, pray on it, talk to people about it. But most of all, do it. Just because it's scary, just because you're fearful of it, does not mean it's a reason to not do it. Like, there are many things I'm afraid of, embarrassed of, ashamed of, but as a child of God, what I want and what I fear does not matter. Is what He wants and what He desires for my life that I need to follow. And so that was another thing I gained from this, was actually, I think I'm doing a lot, there's so much more I can be doing, you know? I think that I'm spreading the gospel and I'm doing God's work, but what more can I do? Because I don't want to limit myself and limit God, first of all, because I think I'm doing well enough, you know what I mean? There's so much more I can be doing for God. And I remember praying for this lady. Her name was Charlie or Bindi, her Indian name. And I'm praying over her, and she asked very specifically for prayer on Sunday. And as I'm praying, I'm sat thinking about myself, and I'm thinking, actually, this prayer is so relevant to me as well. Like, this prayer is so relevant to my situation and to what I'm not doing for God. And God speaks in many ways, and I believe that that was God speaking to me, saying, like, yes, keep doing what you're doing, but there's more. Like, there's more for the kingdom. There's more from you that you need to be doing. And for me, it was sharing my full testimony, which I'm gonna be working on a video next week to do, because there are parts that I always miss out, right? For whatever reason, I'm ashamed, I'm embarrassed, I feel guilty about just certain parts of my testimony when I came to Christ and of my past. And I think that when I was praying, God was like, your identity is in me, it's not in those things. And so what other people think about it doesn't matter, because there's one person that is waiting for that testimony. There's one person that's waiting to be able to resonate with you. And so stop hiding the things that I've called you to spread. And so that's exciting. That's exciting to tell my testimony. Very scary, very, very scary. But if God's calling you to do it, we have to do it. It was an amazing event. Community, meeting people that are like-minded. You know, there are differences in Christians, evidently, whether it's your denomination, whether it's, you know, maybe how much commitment you put into it, wherever it might be, there are differences. And these are the places you're going to meet the Christians that are on fire and that are just striving for God. I'm not saying you can't find them elsewhere, but if people are giving up their weeks, they're giving up their work time, they're giving up their time to celebrate God for 5 days, they're there because they love God. They're there because they want to know more, they want to strive after Him. And so, you know, I met so many people that I connected with that will be a part of my journey now. And I know that because of the fire they have in their soul and the fire they have for Jesus. Because that's the people I want around me. You know, I want those people that are just on fire and they're saying, if it's not God, it doesn't matter to me. And so there are so many benefits to these festivals, and Limitless was just overwhelming. I would leave the room speechless and so spiritually overwhelmed, almost like I can't take any more of God. Like I'm a human, I'm not God, and I can't. For me to experience Him more, I feel like I was gonna like blow up. I feel like my head, my body was just like, it was like how I couldn't understand everything that was happening at once, and I felt so full of Him and so overfilled with God that I was like, I need to go and worship Him. So after every event, I'd go into the worship, the late night worship, and just worship and just cry and just cry and just cry. Because I was just like, God, I don't know how else I can celebrate you right now. And this is all I have. All I have is these tears of joy that you're letting me experience your presence, that you're letting me feel who you really are. And it's just a moment that, you know, if you've never experienced it as a Christian, You know, it's okay. It's not a bad thing. There's places you're gonna experience it. There are things that will work individually that God's doing, but these are places you experience it, and I can't explain it. I can't put it into words. I can't give you a feeling. It's just God. You know, it's just God in your life. His presence, His reverence, His forgiveness, His everything is just inside of you, and it's like, God, I don't have to deal with this, and I need to worship you because of that. So yeah, that's like my review of it. It was just unbelievable to see so many kids, and it makes me want to do more for His kingdom. It makes me want to serve Him more. It makes me want to be in His presence more and more, and that can never be a bad thing. And I think that seeing, you know, my church went, so seeing even the youth I work with, sometimes just so happy to be there, so happy to experience God and celebrating Him. Like, you know, you see these concerts with people, and a beautiful thing is that when people go to these events, they're not looking for a singer. They're not looking for a guitar player. They're not looking for a drummer. They don't care about who is doing it. Like if for example, you go to a J. Cole concert and somebody's there and somebody else is performing his songs, you feel hard done by, right? But at these things, nobody cares who's on stage. Nobody cares who's performing. They just care that they're celebrating Jesus and you're there to celebrate them together. And that's a wonderful thing, that it doesn't matter, it's about God. And so that's kind of like my overview for Limitless 2023. It was just an experience that I love. I love it, and I can't wait till next year. And I can't wait to keep sharing His gospel, and I thank God for filling me with His Spirit to do so. And I'm looking forward to the coming weeks. There's a lot going on, a lot of announcements, Instagram, TikTok. Just stay tuned for that. A couple of preaching opportunities and spoken word coming up. So yeah, stay tuned for that on Instagram. And next week will be my full testimony in all of its rawness. So I look forward to that. I appreciate your support. Subscribe, like, share, all of them things. And I'll see you soon.